Thank you so much for joining us for another one of these interviews. And thank you so much for being on this. Bruce Grobbelaar, an absolute legend in the world of football. And for a lot of us Zimbabweans, you're a real inspiration. Thank you for being on board.
It's my pleasure, Cyrus. It's very, very enjoyable. And yeah, it's a wonderful cause, and I'm happy to be part of it.
So you had your first conservation games. It was a big one because you went up against Joel Stransky, who's renowned for his drop goal that won the Springboks the Rugby World Cup. But you won the conservation games matchup for your team with a wacky wild that was almost like a drop goal. How's your experience of playing the conservation game been?
No, Cyrus, when I was asked to come and join the conservation games, I jumped at it straight away. The concept, what their concept is fantastic. It's making awareness to people around the world that we might not see the likes of the rhino, the white rhino. Well, of course, there's only 2 left in Africa, and they at Old Pejida in Kenya. But the southern white rhino and the black rhino, my kids might not even see them. My children's children. So for the conservationists and everyone that is helping out for the ecosystem to work, they've done a very, very good job of it.
And I know the Zambezia Conservation Alliance has really tried to bring so many people with voices together to be part of this initiative. So, sports stars, former sports stars like yourself are people who have platforms, who they're happy to try and have spread the message of conservation. Is conservation a topic that's really close to your heart?
Cyrus, I went into game lodging in 1992. Unfortunately, I had a partner that actually stole all my money and didn't go in anywhere. And then I was in 10 years of accused of match fixing because he threw the story around that I did. So I've been in that situation with conservation. We had a camp 175 k's from Victoria Falls, and it was fantastic. We had great wildlife. And from then, I've always been keen on the conservation of that area, from Wangi all the way up to Victoria Falls. That's a beautiful, beautiful area because you get the migrating wildebeest. The elephants come to the salt pans in Wangi, then they go back over to Chobe. So we've got some good migratory animals around in that area.
Do you feel like initiatives like the conservation games and the sport for conservation movement are important because, they shine a light on something that really is a plight that people aren't necessarily seeing, especially now during the pandemic?
Well, nobody's seeing anything because nobody can move in the world today. But we have got a voice, and every one of the sportsmen that have come on board helping with the conservation games and playing the fantastic initiative of this, they can open the eyes for just the like-minded people who like to go to Kruger or like to go to the Zambezia area. It's opening their eyes and making them aware of the conservation that they are trying to do within the ecosystem. And I know that a lot of people think that conservation is solely anti-poaching. It's not. You have to have the animals in the area, and the ecosystem will sustain itself in harmony if you don't have the poachers, if you don't have the greed, if you don't have corrupt people around. And that is what conservation has to, first and foremost, get the people that are greedy out of the way. The conservation can only go if the animals can sustain themselves in the environment that they were living in way back in the 60s, 70s, where I grew up, and I could actually see hundreds, maybe thousands of elephant and hundreds of rhino. Now As I said, there's only two northern white rhinos, and they're in Old Pejida, and they're both female. There's no males anymore. So is there a breeding program that can be done through, captured northern white rhinos? Who knows? Maybe. And then maybe the northern white rhino, can sustain themselves now.
Well, I know that we're trying as much as we can to help out the animals, and I think this is what these kinds of initiatives do. I'm assuming that you'd be a lot more responsive to doing a few more of these games now that you've gotten a win under your belt.
Well, yeah, it was a tough call with Joel. I thought that we should have actually ended up as a draw, but the adjudicator was on my side on the day, and it just came down to the animal, the wild and wacky. As I said, I think I know my animals a little bit, more than Joel did, and it was unlucky that he lost. But his giraffe loping was very, very good, and his underpants with the cobra on the front was even better. But yes, if they ask me to do another game, yes, I will do, because it is an initiative. It goes out on social media, and then everybody on my social media, Instagram or Facebook, they can log on and actually have a look and then join in. But the thing is, we need to know where, if they need to pledge any money, where it should go, and hopefully that those sites will be up and running shortly. So therefore, I can put out to my Instagram account, if you wish just to pledge a little bit of money, this is where it's going to go. Because a lot of people have been asking.
We'll definitely have that information for the public as soon as possible. I have a final question. What's more stressful, a Champions League penalty shootout or having to do a wacky wild?
Definitely the wacky wild, and especially playing against a World Cup hero as Joel Stransky. He might not know it, but he is one of my heroes because of the fact that I watched that game there in 95, there in the stadium at Ellis Park, and for a man to score all the points for his team on the day, and Pip, New Zealand, whose fly half also scored all their points on the day. That was a special moment. And the whole affair with the planes coming over before the game, Madiba at the end of the game, it was absolutely fantastic.
That's so great. Thank you so much, Bruce, for being part of this.
Cyrus, it's a pleasure. And if this goes out to everybody, have a look at the conservation games and just go to www.zambezia.com. Thank you very much.
Our wildlife needs help. Tourism to Africa is at an all-time low. You can assist by liking and sharing the conservation games. You can contribute financially by hitting the donate button on the Zambezia.com website. Let's get together and back up the frontline conservation team.